So I just got back from completing the Southeast BDR, which starts down in Navarre, Florida, ends in Damascus, Virginia. And of course I had to ride from home, which is about 3 hours of highway. The total trip was roughly around 2,300 miles with multiple styles of riding. We really put this Africa Twin to the test. So what I want to do in this video today is share with you on how this bike actually performed, the pros and cons of the bike itself, the pros and cons of the gear that I've reviewed and talked about before. And one of the main questions I get a lot from you guys is how does the base or more off-road Africa Twin compare up to the adventure sport or more touring Africa Twin, the new ones with the 19-inch front wheel and the 24. I think I can really answer that question now. And answering that key question short and sweet to kick it off here, yes, the base trim or 21-inch front wheel is hands down better than the Adventure Sport off-road. You will notice the Adventure Sport kind of bottom out with the suspension. You can put it in hard and it will help out a little bit, but you just notice that lesser suspension travel when doing terrain with big boulders and rocks and divots and washouts and stuff. You'll notice that bottom out occasionally. When on the base trim, I never noticed it bottomed out. I mean, it just glided right through them. I mean, it was just flexing all over the place. It was phenomenal. But yes, the Adventure Sport or 19-inch front wheel Africa Twin performs 10 times better on the road, like just hitting a twist. He's talking about riding the tail of the dragon. This one, you almost got to lean to it and kind of hold your turns up a little bit. When the 19-inch front wheel, you can ride it like a sport bike. You come into it, bam, you power out of it and you just ride on through. After a while, I got used to this one, but it still doesn't feel as good as the 19-inch front. I mean, that thing's just amazing in the twisties. Again, it feels like a sports bike. When this, it clear as day feels like an adventure bike. Now, the other biggest thing I noticed from this compared to the Adventure Sport is highway riding for those long rides. Because again, we banged out 3 hours of highway to get from my house down to Florida. And you just feel that 21-inch front wheel a little bit dancy. You feel that wind every now and then. Nothing crazy, but it is noticeable and uneasy, especially if you're new to adventure bikes. With the 19-inch front wheel, you're locked in, and again, you're riding like a touring or a sport bike. You feel connected with that road. When that 21-inch front wheel, like if you cross the lane and you got that little slice in the middle of lane to lane, you kind of feel it. You cross it, boop, 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 and it wiggles like that. It's very uneasy. Now, I've ridden many 21-inch front wheels, so I'm kind of used to it. I expect it, but if you're new to it, again, it is an uneasy feeling. So to answer that question, yes, the base or 21-inch wheel Africa Twin is hands down better for off-roading. If you're focused more on touring and you don't plan on doing much off-roading, the Adventure Sport is definitely the way to go. And just to solidify my points right here, the funny thing is talking about some of those points I just mentioned as far as my use from bike to bike. But actually, my friend that bought my 24 Adventure Sport, he was actually on the Southeast BDR with us. And he kind of talked about some of those points with me, saying, hey man, my suspension's bottoming out. Hey, put it on hard, so on and so forth, right? But anyways, any of those issues I didn't notice on this at all off-roading. So again, cool to get my perspective riding and owning both of them, but also another rider right along with the trip with me. Now, the next thing I want to mention are these tires, being the Tusk D Sport Adventure, I believe they're called. My bad, they're the Tusk 2-track Adventure. A lot of people class this as a budget tire, which it is a lot cheaper than say AX41s or something. You can get a set of these for around 300 bucks. And let me tell you what, this tire performed amazing on-road, off-road, in wet conditions, in sand and in mud. It was phenomenal, but not perfect because they are chunking a little bit. Now I'm riding DCT right here, so when I come out of a turn and I really get on that throttle, it is gonna skip and dance on those rocks and kind of throw some back. So that could be why. But again, I will tell you what, I love this tire. I'm glad I got another set in the garage, and I will be using this tire again once these wear out. But even after 3,000 miles, I got plenty of ride time on these still. So the Tusk D Sport Adventures, I highly recommend. Next up, I want to talk about the protection and how it performed on this bike. As I'm using the Hepco and Becker crash bars, uppers and lower. I am not using any skid plate, just straight stock there. And then I have the Barkbuster Storm handguards. And all of these came into play because I went down 3 times on this bike. You can see the crash bars, they got chunks taken out of them as it went down and really really uneven, rocky spot on one of the hard sections. It saved a lot of the bike. Like if I didn't have these, I think this plastics would have got ripped off. And as far as the hand guards, that's where I whacked into the tree and went headfirst into the mud. And I mean, heck, there's just little tiny scuffs on it up there. So I think the protection on this bike was phenomenal. And I was kind of curious, like, will I be needing a skid plate? But going through that entire bit, it seems perfectly fine. I don't think you need one. So as you saw, the protection performed phenomenal. One area that didn't perform phenomenal was my luggage. Now it did the trick. It kept everything dry inside, sitting in mud, going through water and all sorts of terrain. But the thing that it didn't do fine is, you all know these Hepco and Beckers are held on by the SIBO mount. They just started flexing in and out like that. But if I go and take one of them off, you see how it attaches right by the SIBO, and you can see how muddy they are. And by the way, I had to add this bit of tape because, again, with that constant flex, it was hitting the side of the exhaust right there. So I think what's happening is, again, you got support up here, but you don't have support on the bottom, and that constant off-roading, bouncing, and then falling on the bags and press them, and then again loaded down with my gear and stuff, they started flexing. So I would say, do not use these for off-roading. As much as I love these bags, I use them on my scrambler and everything, they're absolutely phenomenal and they look good. I would say use these mainly for touring, not serious, constant off-roading, because again, they're just gonna start flexing over time. But it's really cool. You can see how dirty and beat up these bags got, but the inside is spotless. And next up is a mod I swear by and I do on every single bike and highly recommend. That is the seat concept seat. I got the front and the rear bit here, but this is one I actually installed by myself. I'm probably gonna do a video on that, just kind of showing the installation, because I usually buy the one with the pan and all that, but this time I wanted to try it myself. And let me tell you what, this seat was a lifesaver. My rear end did not hurt at all, cranking out all the miles or on the highway. You got plenty of space to scooch up if you're off-roading, then you got a big pad back there for those long highway rides. I mean, this seat was a lifesaver for this trip. Another lifesaver on this trip was this windshield. These are the WRS windshields. This one is the touring. They got the Capnord, which is a whole lot taller, and then they got the smaller ones, which I'm going to be doing a full review on all of these. And heck, the Capnord over here, or the touring one, I did on this entire trip. If I went with that basic stock one, which is, I don't know, maybe a couple inches lower, I think I would have been pretty darn miserable on those highway rides. This was perfect. It pulled it up, made that air go over me. Now I do use these side wind deflectors as well, so that helps keep the wind off the arm. That'll be coming in a standalone review. But what I want to point out here is, as you can see, all the times I went down on multiple sides, this windshield did not break. And again, it blocked the wind. So that is a win-win right there. Now moving down from the windshield, you're probably noticing something missing up here from my previous accessory video. That is the fog lights up here. And I still stand by it. I absolutely love those fog lights. They're some of the best ones I've used. They light up the road amazing. But unfortunately, the hardware that comes with them absolutely sucks. I'm going to be emailing Hepco and Becker about this, because this is the second time it happened. It happened on my SCL. Just the rattling when you're off-road, the screws just break off inside of the little clip right there. So if you get them, make sure to upgrade your hardware ASAP. Just go to the hardware store and get one. I wish I would have, because it happened on this as well. Same thing. The screw broke off on the inside. I lost a piece. I don't have it. That really stinks. Now the other one is off because, again, when I hit that tree, I whacked all that right there. You know, luckily I still have the lights, but again, I just want to let you know that the hardware that comes with those fog lights is absolutely horrible. Now the next thing I want to mention is, again, another one of those little mods that truly makes the ride experience that much better. And that's this little screen up here. And you've seen many of these before, from Carp Your Ride, from a Yochi to this Chiggy one, which I've covered all of them as well. I do have a standalone review coming on the Chiggy as well. I just wanted to take it through that real true test rather than just plug it in and review it. So again, I got miles on it. And let me tell you what, using Apple Maps, Google Maps, or Gaia. I don't use any, Garmin. I don't mount my phone on my bike anymore. This is all I use. I don't even use CarPlay on the Africa Twin S. It's a pain in the neck. This is all I use. And let me tell you what, it is phenomenal. I absolutely love the simplicity of it, and it just got me everywhere I needed. But again, standalone review on the Chiggy CarPlay coming soon. I just really wanted to put it through that raw test. One other topic that I think is really important with this ride and this bike here, as it really resonated with me throughout this ride. And that's with my Africa Twin being DCT. I know a lot of you probably question, man, should I get the manual? Should I get the DCT? And I, again, have had both of them. I think this should probably be a standalone video itself, but I just briefly want to cover it right here. If you're curious about, again, them in depth, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell, because I will have that coming up soon as well. DCT is a learning curve, right? I've had multiple DCT bikes. I'm not saying I'm an expert or I'm perfect at it right now. It still kind of gets me in a pickle sometimes. If it's your first DCT, definitely do some light off-road and some local off-road and go off into the little gullies over there and get used to going through ruts. Not just going down a fire road, but get used to going through some ruts and some sand and mud and stuff, and get used to that, again, feel when it throws you back and you got that throttle pulling you and stuff, because you have no kill switch. There's always power to this bike. It's a learning curve for sure, but me personally, yes, I will still take DCT over manual all day long. The Africa Twin in my setup here, was it perfect? No, I think there are a few tweaks I'll do with some different bags in the back, definitely different hardware on the fog lights right there. But all in all, with, again, what I put this bike through, it performed absolutely amazing. And this trip truly solidified what I've said in so many of my videos, that the Africa Twin is the best adventure bike. I mean, I truly believe that with what I have right here, DCT and all that stuff. It just performed flawlessly. I had an absolute blast on it. It did everything I threw it on. It could have done 10 times more than I could have done, you know, but it's just such an amazing bike. And if you're considering one of these, don't second guess it by any means. Just the only thing you're going to think about is, do you want the more off-road one or the more touring one? And again, if you want to see that full Southeast BDR trip, make sure again to subscribe and hit that bell, because I'm working on it right now. But oh my gosh, I have a lot of footage to go through.